My name is Maya Brooks, and 3 months ago my favorite professor gave me an F because I wouldn't set her up on a date with my dad. I'm 22, just graduated from a mid-sized public university outside Columbus, Ohio. First-gen college student, double major in marketing and psych, the kind of person who color codes a planner and buys generic cereal to afford name-brand highlighters. I had a boyfriend since sophomore year, Ethan, tall, film club guy with a complicated relationship to corduroy, and a best friend since freshman orientation, Jenna, who could make a study group feel like a party. I'm telling you this so you understand I wasn't looking for drama. I was trying to get out, get a job, and finally stop living on ramen and anxiety. The professor was Dr. Caldwell.
Popular.
Sharp bob, sharp heels, sharper emails. She taught consumer behavior, and everyone wanted her for letters of rec. I'd taken her twice already, and she liked my work. We talked after class about internships and career stuff. She even said, "I see a lot of me in you," which, at 21, feels like an award. My dad is a firefighter. Mom left when I was 10. He raised me on shift schedules and burnt grilled cheese and this goofy, gallant belief that people are mostly good. He's handsome in a should-be-on-a-charity calendar way, which I know because my friends have said so, and because the moms at my high school used to show up early to drop off for no reason.
Okay.
That's the setup. 2 weeks before finals, I was in Dr. Caldwell's office going over my capstone project. I'd built a mock campaign for a local thrift chain. She was nodding, flipping through, when she said, "I noticed your emergency contact is a Daniel Brooks. Is that your father?" I said yes. She smiled in this way I couldn't place. "I think I've seen him around town." I didn't think anything of it. Professors are people. Columbus is not that big. That Friday she asked if I could stay after class. Everyone left. She shut the door and said, very casually, "Would you mind giving your father my number? Or better yet, arranging a coffee?" I laughed because I thought it was a joke. She didn't laugh. She said, "It would be mutually beneficial. Networking goes both ways, Maya. I'm in a position to be helpful." I said, "I'm not a dating app for my dad." Softer. "That's weird." Her smile flattened. "I'm disappointed," she said, like she was the one being wronged. "I thought you were more strategic." I went home and told Ethan and Jenna everything, half laughing because I didn't want it to be a real problem. Ethan said, "That's insane. Report her," while scrolling his phone. Jenna said, "Professors flirt all the time, don't they?" Maybe she was joking. I said I'd document it just in case. I wrote down what she'd said, the date and time, because I've worked in customer service and know the power of receipts. The next week Dr. Caldwell tanked my project. I mean annihilated it. F, with comments like unimaginative and plagiarized tone. Which, what? She told me I'd also lost participation points for attitude. My A in the class became AC overnight, which nuked my honors cord and potentially the job offer I had pending on graduating with a 3.7. I appealed. The department admin said they'd look into it after the break, which meant after graduation. I cried in a Target parking lot for an hour, and then went home and did the thing I didn't want to do. I told my dad. He got very quiet. He said, "What's her name?" And then, "I'm not going to say anything to her, but I will be there when you talk to whoever you need to talk to." He kept apologizing like he'd caused it by existing. 2 days later, my wallet went missing. I had it in the library. I remember because I used my student ID to check out a charger. By the time I walked back from the bathroom, it was gone. Cash, ID, debit, the works. I filed a report with campus security. I canceled cards. It sucked, but finals week was already afire. That night, Ethan texted that he was swamped, then didn't come over. Jenna did with snacks. She said she'd help me tear apart the library the next day. She's the kind of friend who remembers your exam time and shows up with a coffee just how you like it. Or so I thought. Here's twist number 1. 2 days after the wallet thing, campus security called. They'd found my wallet in the trunk of a car. Guess whose? Mine?
No.
Jenna's. I thought it was a mistake. We went down there, me shaking, Jenna pale. Security said they'd stopped her at the exit over a busted taillight. Ran her plates.
Routine.
Asked to look in the trunk because someone reported a laptop missing from the library too. She agreed. Inside, 2 laptops and my wallet in a tote bag. She said she had no idea how it got there. They said they had video of her taking a tote from a table in the library and walking out. The video looked like her. The tote looked like mine. They turned it over to the dean. The dean turned it over to the police because the laptops were university property. Jenna cried so hard she hiccuped. She kept saying, I don't know. I believed her because I wanted to. She's my person. People don't become thieves overnight. Ethan finally answered his phone. He said, Babe, what the hell? He came over. He hugged Jenna too, which I noticed, but tried not to make a thing. The police were polite. They asked me to write a statement. Jenna said she'd get a lawyer. I lay there that night, staring at the popcorn ceiling in my off-campus apartment, thinking, why is my life suddenly someone else's plot twist? Then Ethan stopped texting back for real. He'd do the sorry, crazy day thing. Then he went home to nap at 7 p.m. Then he showed up the next afternoon with a smoothie and acted like nothing was off. I was too tired to fight. Finals in 2 days. GPA on life support. Wallet recovered, but dignity missing. I kept replaying Dr. Caldwell's face, the mutually beneficial line, the way Jenna said maybe I misread it. I kept thinking about the tote in Jenna's trunk. I didn't watch the footage. I just saw stills. I told myself anyone can misinterpret a still. I told myself Jenna would never. The second twist came because I stopped sleeping and started scrolling. I was at Ethan's place. He'd finally invited me over after 3 crazy days, and he was in the shower. His phone pinged with a text from an unfamiliar number. I didn't look for it. It just lit the screen with a preview. Same time tonight? He's calling me later. I'll make sure she sees us. And then a heart. It wasn't a name. It was a number I didn't know. I did the thing I used to judge my friends for. I opened it. The thread was weeks long. It wasn't just flirtation. It was plans. It was talk about my schedule. Screenshots of Dr. Caldwell's emails to me. Timestamps that lined up with the day my wallet disappeared. And in the middle of it, a selfie of Jenna in Ethan's hoodie, in his apartment, his tattoo in the corner where his arm was around her, his stupid corduroy jacket visible on the chair. The number belonged to Dr. Caldwell. I sat there with my heart beating in my fingertips. In the bathroom, the water shut off. I put the phone back, walked to the door, and left. He texted, "Where'd you go?" I didn't answer. I went home and threw up so violently, I thought I'd break a rib. That's when all the pieces slid into place with that awful click you can feel in your gut. Jenna wasn't just a friend who had made a mistake. She and Ethan were a thing. And Dr. Caldwell wasn't just a creepy professor. She was connected to them somehow. I didn't know how or why. I only knew what I was holding in my head. Screenshots, dates, the sudden F, the toad in the trunk, the mutually beneficial tone, the way Jenna had downplayed it. I called my dad. He said, very calmly, "We're going to breathe, and then we're going to make a list." We made a list. What I knew, what I could prove,
Who to talk to.
I emailed the dean with my documentation about Dr. Caldwell and asked for a meeting. I didn't mention Jenna or Ethan because it felt like mixing fires. I sent myself copies of everything. My assignment drafts, my grade breakdown before and after the F, the time-stamped text I'd sent Ethan, and Jenna the day of the ask. The meeting was set for the morning of graduation rehearsal. I showed up in my one-interview dress and told them exactly what happened in Dr. Caldwell's office. I told them about the F after I refused. I gave them the timeline. They asked for evidence. I showed the emails. I said I understood if it was my word against hers, but they needed to know. The dean listened. The HR person took notes like she was carving them into stone. They said, "We'll investigate." I walked out shaking and felt, for the first time in a month, like I hadn't imagined reality. Then came the third twist, more like a reveal that changed the whole color of everything. After the meeting, I went to the bathroom to cry in a stall like a cliché. When I came out, Dr. Caldwell was by the sinks. She didn't look surprised to see me. She said, "Careful, Maya. False accusations are serious." I said, so is retaliation. She smirked. Retaliation would be if I, say, told your father I've known him since high school. I didn't understand. She looked at me in the mirror. Tell him Renee says hi. Renee is my mom's name. I laughed out loud because it was too much. But she didn't blink. She said, your father and I dated. Senior year. We were voted cutest couple. He dumped me 2 weeks before prom for a girl named Renee. I went home and asked my dad. He looked like someone had opened the door to a room he'd kept shut for decades. Melanie Caldwell, he said very soft. Oh, kiddo. He told me the truth. He and Dr. Caldwell were a thing at 18 the way everyone is a thing at 18, big feelings, bigger drama. He did leave her for my mom. He hadn't seen her since. He hadn't even known she was here. So maybe this wasn't just about a creepy ask. It was about a woman who had stored a grudge like a jar of something sour in the back of a fridge and, on finding me, decided to serve it. Graduation day came fast. My appeal hadn't been resolved. I was allowed to walk. The honors cord was still off the table. I thought about not going. My dad told me I had to. This is yours, he said. Nobody gets to take the walk from you. I decided I wasn't going to let them leave me with silence. I couldn't control the grade, not yet. But I could tell the truth where people could hear it. No, I didn't hijack the ceremony. I'm not a movie. But I was scheduled to speak as the student rep from our department before all this happened. They hadn't replaced me yet because the program had gone to print. They asked me to keep it uplifting. I did. And I told a story. I talked about how college taught me more than theories and campaigns. I said I learned about power, the way it's used in emails and offices and whispers. I said sometimes mentors try to collect favors instead of writing letters, and sometimes friends borrow your things and forget to return them, and sometimes the people you love are not on your side. I didn't name names. I didn't have to. I ended with, if you leave here with anything, let it be this. Don't trade your integrity for access. It's a bad currency. And when you lose sight of what's right, someone else pays your debt. People clapped politely. My hands shook so badly, I could barely hold my program. Here's where I exposed them, if that's even the right word for something that felt like simply bringing it into the light. After the ceremony, outside by the fountain where everyone takes the same photo, I found the dean and handed her a small packet I'd put together. Timeline, copies of the emails, a written statement about the ask, and yes, screenshots of the text thread I'd found between Ethan and the unknown number labeled M. I said, I believe this is Dr. Caldwell. I'm not making allegations about my classmates. I'm showing a pattern. The dean's face did that neutral administrative thing. She thanked me. My dad stood behind me like a wall. Then Jenna walked up in her cap, face blotchy, like she'd been crying all day. Ethan hovered a few feet away, pretending to talk to someone else. She said, we need to talk. I said, we really don't. She said, I didn't mean for it to get this far. She looked at my dad, then back at me. She promised me she could get me in the grad program. She said, she? I said, Dr. Caldwell, she whispered. I didn't steal your wallet. I swear. She told me to pick up a tote for her from the library. She said it was hers. I thought. She bit her lip until it went white. The laptops weren't mine. I didn't know. And Ethan, she glanced back. He was never yours. I'm sorry. It was like someone opened a window and let a storm blow right through me. I believed pieces, not all. Jenna's sorry hung there thin. My dad said, that's enough. In that voice he uses at car accidents, gentle and final. I looked at Jenna and said, we were supposed to be on the same side. She said, I know. She cried. Ethan did that thing where he laughs when he's cornered. I turned away. The investigation took a week. Dr. Caldwell was placed on leave pending review. My appeal was upheld. My grade was restored based on a second reader evaluating the project blind. The honors cord came in the mail like a pity scarf. Jenna withdrew from the grad program for personal reasons. Ethan put his Instagram on private and posted a quote about fake people, which made me laugh in the produce aisle. Here's the revenge part, if you want to call it that. I didn't blow up anyone's life on social media. I didn't spray paint a banner. I just made sure the people with the actual power to do something saw what I saw. I kept the receipts. I kept my head. I let the truth work. I also blocked Jenna and Ethan everywhere and told my dad we were going to Ruth's Chris with a coupon because I wanted to eat a steak the size of my fear. He said, "Atta girl," and we did, and he cried in the parking lot because he was proud of me, and I cried with him because pride and grief sometimes wear the same coat. If you're waiting for a neat moral, I don't have one. The closest I can get is this: the line between networking and exploitation is not thin. People just pretend it is when it benefits them. And friendship built on access is a ladder that always tips. I graduate walked, I appeal one, I therapy started. Last week I got an offer at a small agency downtown. Entry level, decent benefits, an office dog named Beans. When they asked for references, I sent them 2 professors who had never once hinted that I owed them anything other than my best work. Sometimes I replay that moment in the bathroom when Dr. Caldwell said my mom's name, and I think about how many versions of this story there could have been. One where I panicked and introduced my dad, and he went on a pity date, and I learned to barter with myself. One where I believed the F meant I wasn't good enough and gave up. One where I forgave Jenna because history. One where I stayed with Ethan because inertia. I didn't pick those. I'm posting this because shame lives in the dark. Because some of you are sitting in an office with a closed door, convinced you have to choose between your future and your boundaries. You don't. It's going to cost you something, maybe your honors cord, maybe your boyfriend, maybe your best friend, but the receipt prints with your name on it instead of theirs. My name is Maya. My professor tried to make my dad a grade. My best friend tried to make me a stepping stone. I exposed what I could at graduation. It didn't feel triumphant. It felt like finally breathing. And I'm going to keep breathing, on purpose, in rooms I got into by telling the truth.